So what's next for Max Holloway? Let's talk about it now. Why do I want to talk about it? Well, because Max Holloway himself is in a very unique situation, in my opinion. He is elite. He proved that again against Arnold Allen, but he is elite, better than probably the whole of his weight division, apart from one guy, and that is Volkanovski. So we get a situation which is almost similar to Whittaker and Adesanya, slightly different in some aspects, but I'd say it's the only situation which is kind of similar. But we get a situation in which Holloway beats all the contenders looking to get a title shot, and Volkanovski is left with no fights. There's almost a gatekeeping side to that weight division where there are just two guys above everyone else. One guy fights off all the contenders and the other guy is a champion. Now, what makes it interesting is that obviously Holloway has fought Volkanovski already 3 times and lost 3 times. Controversially, maybe you could say. It depends what camp you sit on. But he has lost 3 times. And so the question is, do we want to see Volkanovski versus Holloway again? And I think that with this, you see two camps. You see two camps of people. You see one camp that say, yes, we want to see it. And they have a plethora of reasons as to why. And you have another camp who say, no, he's lost 3 times, he doesn't deserve it. And I sit on the left side of the fence, the first side of the fence, where I believe that we will see it again. Because, number one, you've got to remember those fights were very, very close. They were great fights. Some people argue that Holloway won one of the 2 fights that they had. I think Holloway is levels above the other fighters in the weight division. And I think it's only a matter of time before we see naturally Holloway have no one to fight and Volkanovski have no one to fight. Unless they do the Makhachev fight, which I think should have happened. But they both won't have anyone to fight, and it will be Volkanovski versus Holloway again. We're going to see that, in my opinion. So, after his brilliant performance against Arnold Allen, which again, for me, solidifies the fact that Holloway is a top fighter. Because 1, we saw that he still has his chin, 2, we saw he still has his hand speed, and 3, we saw that he can still throw volume, which is what people were saying that he might not have anymore towards the latter stages of his career. But he called out Korean Zombie. I think this fight is a good one for Max, in my opinion. I see him winning that fight and piecing up Korean Zombie, who is on, again, in the latter stages of his career. I think maybe he has 1 or 2 more fights left. That is no disrespect to Korean Zombie. I think he has been a brilliant fighter, but he is very much on the decline compared to Holloway, in my opinion. But I think it's a great matchup. I think it can be a main event. I think it's exciting. 2 very durable, brilliant fighters who are game, who respect each other. And that's the next fight I think we're going to see. But I wanted to discuss whether we're going to see Holloway versus Volkanovski again. I think after Holloway fights Korean Zombie, and if Volkanovski beats Yair Rodriguez, which I still think is a much closer fight than people like to say, I'm not against it. I think it can be earned. I don't think he'd ever get it gifted, but I think it can be earned and has been earned through the Arnold Allen fight. Maybe one more fight will solidify him definitely getting that fight. I think that Arnold Allen was a feared opponent, as someone that the UFC were looking to get into that championship spot. Not get into that championship spot, I mean more so fight for the championship. And I think that the way Holloway dealt with him has proven that he is levels above that division and that he deserves that fight. Tactically, he was brilliant. He was perfect in all the realms that he had to be. And I still believe Holloway and Volk are levels above the competition. I wanted to get your guys' opinions on this because I don't think you can be right or wrong in this situation. I think this is just a matter of opinion as to whether you think Holloway deserves this fight. But I wanted to start a discussion really as to, do you guys think that Holloway deserves a title fight after his fight against Korean Zombie that should be coming up? Do you guys think that Volkanovski is going to fight Holloway? Do you think that it won't happen? Do you think that Holloway lost at all 3 fights that they had against each other? There's a lot of questions here that need answering from you guys. So I'd like to hear from you guys. What are your opinions on if this should or shouldn't happen again.